Period.
And we don't do that. And Gavin Newsom's success is, I like to have a beer with that guy. And it's like, he's a narcissistic douchebag. I've interviewed him on my podcast years ago. He's a slippery eel of nothingness. He says nothing. He says nothing. He's a sociopathic, narcissistic, empty bag. And we vote for this guy. He says nothing.
He doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to. That's the scary part of this equation.
Arguably
My mom is voting for Gavin Newsom no matter what that pile of shit does. And he's insane. He doesn't even make sense when he talks. Like when he was on my podcast, I was like,
when was this?
This is 10 years ago.
Wow.
He'll never be on again. I'd have him on tomorrow.
Oh,
but
he's
a
not
coward.
coming on to talk to you.
He's not coming on. Your viewers and listeners will probably, they can find it on the internet.
I'm going to go back and find it.
They will enjoy. They will enjoy our discussion.
How long did it last?
Well, the part that everyone, an hour, but the part that everyone enjoys is he was talking about predatory check cashing places that were predatory toward Black and Hispanics. And, he wanted to end that. And then I said, what's wrong with Blacks and Hispanics that they have to use these predatory check cashing places? And he just kept saying, and then he kept saying it affects everyone. And I'd say, why'd you say Black and Hispanic? It affects everyone. And he said that because it predominantly affects Blacks and Hispanics. And I'd say, why does it predominantly? And he'd say, there's no reason why, it's just what it is. And then he said it would be, and then I'd say again, then why'd you bring up Black and Hispanic? And then he'd say, it affects everyone. And then I'd say, oh, you'll go nuts.
I cannot wait.
Listen.
I'm sad. I'm embarrassed I haven't seen it.
I'm embarrassed
for me
to say this.
Oh.
You think you like me now? When you see this,
really,
you're going to open an Adam Carolla fan club.
Decade ago. Well, there's already several of those. But from a decade ago even.
I'm unaware of those clubs.
When people weren't as vocal against him.
10 years plus ago, I lit into him bad for a long time. And he had nowhere to go and nowhere to wiggle out of. And he had to sit there and there wasn't any commercial breaks. And we just went round and round and round. And so I was like, all right, so if I go down to the check cashing place, I'll see a lot of Jews and Asians there. And he's like, you see everyone there. And I was like, why did you say Black and Hispanic? Because it disproportionately affects. And I'm not overselling it. I went into him for a long time.
I can't wait.
He's a buffoon. He's an idiot. I said to him, what's going on with traffic? We have such horrible traffic in LA, especially the worst in the world. Like, why aren't we doing something about it? Why isn't there a plan? Where's our traffic czar? What's going on? And he goes, I saw this billboard. I kind of liked it. It said, you're not in traffic, you are traffic.
What?
It doesn't mean anything. The point is that's how he talks.
Because he says it with enthusiasm, and therefore it's he told me, I told him 10 years ago, I go, look, we got a homeless problem, and the homeless problem are people with mental issues and drug addiction. That's the homeless. And he goes, let me tell you the real face of homeless. Mother of two, divorced, full-time, minimum wage job, doesn't have anywhere to go. And I said, that's not homeless. That's not homeless. It's drug-addicted people with mental disorders. And he tried to explain to me 10 years ago that the real face of homeless was a sober mother of two who was freshly divorced and had a full-time job at McDonald's. My God.
He's a sociopathic.
To pretend to have empathy.
He's a buffoon. He is a 10-cent head. People watch the debates or the sound bites or whatever, he lies. You sit in the same room with that guy and nail him down.
Was it face-to-face?
Yeah.
Oh.
He would have hung up if that was on Zoom. Computer down.
Oh, my God.
He's a narcissistic 10-cent head buffoon, and nobody knows it. Or I don't know, or people in California are too dumb to realize that who he is.
Choosing to ignore it.
That's what they're choosing to do. And then with what you've seen, you know, leading up to the 2024 election, and let's trot him out there and let's debate Ron DeSantis, even though you're not an official candidate. And, you know, okay, great, you look the part. Congratulations. But hey, why not, Adam? Because look what happened to his friend Kamala Harris. Like, she couldn't even do anything in her state, win anything in her state, but became second in command in the greatest country on the planet as a vice president. So he doesn't have to care. He doesn't have to. More importantly, it's a big deal, right? I mean, let's just start work-wise for you to leave Los Angeles.
Yeah, I don't want to leave Los Angeles.
But you're done. You've decided.
Yeah. Yeah, as many others have.
Oh, millions. But the problem
millions.
is I'm like, okay, now you're going to Arizona and Nashville and you're going to bring your politics. I lived in Scottsdale for a while, 10 years ago, and there were so many Californians coming into Scottsdale. And we're all like, listen, don't ruin this. It's really great here. And look, so I think that's the fear. It's like, please, you ruin that. Don't bring it here.
Because they're so self-righteous that they think the real problem with, you know, getting back to my poor dead mom is they cannot course correct. They can't just go, I made a mistake. This guy's an idiot. I shouldn't have voted for him. I was, you know, maybe, you know, I think the problem is, you know, if you go back to Bill Clinton era, yeah, I was a Democrat and Bill Clinton made sense to me. But Bill Clinton was talking about a robust border and lowering taxes and, you know, things that I agreed with. And then something happened along the way and they went nuts. And what I'm saying to normal people is, all right, you're not leaving the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
They left you because they're obsessed with the trans community and they don't care about the border. That's not your fault. That's their fault. They went nuts. Now, admit you shouldn't have, you didn't make a mistake. You were with them when they were talking about, you know, topics that you thought were fine, you know, legalize gay marriage, decriminalize marijuana. Yes, good.
Yeah.
It's all good. And then they started going nuts and they become all in. They're all race hustlers who never stop talking about the trans community. And now I'm out.
And I do get, I don't,